What's up, everybody? This is the one and only Pop Culture Junkie, and I wanted to share with you a special video recap. We're going to be talking about the results and little review on the 2018 WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Now, today is January 29th, 2018. That means yesterday was the Rumble event, and I got to watch it live on the WWE Network, of course, and it was a surprisingly good show for the most part. Now, the reason I want to do this recap is because not only was it a good show, but I'm also celebrating my 3-year anniversary on YouTube. Now, many of you know I enjoy unboxing different random subscription boxes. We have your weekly Mystery Mini Monday episodes, my flea market treasure hunting episodes, and so many other content that we put on the channel here, talking about different pop culture related items, hence the Pop Culture Junkie. I initially started this video channel with my wrestling reviews, and my very first review was a recap on the WWE's 2015 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Thought I would go ahead and do a little quick recap on the 2018 Rumble to celebrate my 3-year anniversary. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different. If you had watched that original recap, I'm actually driving in the video as I'm talking about the show. This time I'm actually getting to sit down and have my focus on the video itself, not paying attention to traffic at the moment. So a little bit easier, a little bit different. Now we're going to talk about the show itself. Now, Royal Rumble pay-per-view, of course, the Royal Rumble itself celebrates 30 years of being around. It's 30 years ago in 1988 that the first Rumble match happened. Winner, of course, was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We've had dozens of different winners of the Rumble match, lots of Hall of Famers, classic moments in the Rumble. And this year we celebrate having another historical moment because we are having the first ever women's Royal Rumble match. That's right, the women are getting to have their own 30 participant Rumble match. First time ever. Hopefully it's not the only time. Hopefully they do another one because this match was really good. Now let's go ahead and talk about the entire show from top to bottom, all right? Of course, nowadays you have 5-6 hour long shows when it comes to the big shows like the Rumble, SummerSlam, Mania, etc. So the pre-show started about 4 p.m. Now the pre-show always consists of video packages and backstage interviews, and you have the panel table sitting at ringside there with Renee Young and 3 other random announcers or stars talking about the events that are going to be happening on the show. And then they get to have at least 1 or 2 matches sometimes during the pre-show and later on the kickoff show. So for the pre-show, we were given a 6-man cruiserweight tag team match made up of Kalisto, Gran Metalik, and Lince Dorado versus TJP, Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. Now, this match was thrown onto the card at the last minute because we did have a couple of cancellations happen in the show. Now, we had a couple of superstars that were having to be pulled from matches, and we had 2 matches that were initially advertised for this show get changed at the last minute. First, we had the United States Championship Tournament Finals scheduled to be on this show, and it was supposed to be Jinder Mahal versus Bobby Roode for the vacant title that Dolph Ziggler originally vacated, and they decided to have that 2 weeks ago on SmackDown and crown the champion then. So we didn't have any U.S. title matches set for the show at the time being. Then we also had a cruiserweight title match originally advertised of Enzo Amore defending the title against Cedric Alexander. That match unfortunately was canceled because Enzo Amore is currently not employed by WWE after having an allegation of rape come out, and he was suspended and then indefinitely, he was suspended and then let go the following day, still pending the investigation, of course. So at the last minute, they gave us a 6-man cruiserweight tag match, which was your typical spot fest. The faces won. It started off the show on a good pop with the crowd getting a fan favorites, victory. During the kickoff show, we had the Revival versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Now, this was a rematch from Raw 25. Now, that match on Raw 25 I don't think should have even happened. I think they should have done a talking segment and just had DX and the Clique, attack them and do it that way. But the Revival got their win back because, Anderson and Gallows won on Raw, so we got a, even Steven booking. The match was nothing to be, wild about, just it happened, it was a match. Then we have a United States Championship Open Challenge match. Okay, they announced this earlier in the day that Bobby Roode was going to be doing the Open Challenge. Hey, John Cena did it, AJ Styles did it, so let's have Bobby Roode do it. And it was open challenge for anybody to come challenge for the United States Championship. Now, for me, when I first heard about this, I was like, oh, Dolph Ziggler's coming back tonight, right? That means, that means he's going to challenge for that U.S. title. That's, it's a given, right? And that's who I'm expecting to have come out to challenge Bobby Roode. But no, instead we get Mojo Rawley. Okay, he was in the United States tournament, but he didn't win. And unfortunately, the match was just, a match. It wasn't anything wild. It was something that could have been on SmackDown. Nothing wow. But we get Bobby Roode a championship win over Mojo Rawley, so he keeps the title, which is good. So now we go to the actual show itself, okay? Now we're 2 hours later. We're starting the official show at 6 o'clock, at least 6 o'clock Central my time. And our opening match for the Rumble pay-per-view is the WWE Championship Handicap Tag Match. That's right. The #1 title in the company is the opening match for the main show. That's crazy to me. But anyway, so we have AJ Styles defending against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now this match itself was really good. Lots of good action, lots of good moments in the match. AJ Styles is, the top performer they have right now in SmackDown, in WWE, whatever you want to say. He is one of the best, period. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are no slouch themselves. They are a great tag team. They are great singles competitors. I would definitely like to see the two of them win the tag title to at least keep them away from the world title picture at the moment, but I would like to see them have some championship gold. So the match comes to an end when Sami Zayn is attempting to tag Owens, and the referee thinks a tag was made, but it wasn't, and Sami Zayn gets thrown out of the ring. Owens goes to do the pop-up powerbomb, but ends up getting reversed, and AJ Styles rolls him up for the pinfall, even though he was not the legal man. If you rewatch that ending, he is not the legal man. Sami Zayn was still the legal man. But AJ Styles gets declared the winner, keeps the title, and we go backstage, and we see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn complaining to Shane McMahon, but of course Shane's like, oh well, I'm not going to do anything about it, because, he doesn't like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, so why do anything to help them? So our next match was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Usos against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This match had a lot of potential, and it fell flat for me. I just did not like this match. I like the Usos. I love how they've been able to change their characters into this new Uso penitentiary, gimmick. I really like it, and I think Chad Gable and Benjamin, they're fine. They're both great competitors. I think Shelton Benjamin should have had a singles run a long time ago into the title pictures. I think he just needs to work on his mic skills, of course. Chad Gable, I think, honestly, he should have been the one to be Kurt Angle's long-lost son if they're going to really do that storyline, which makes no sense with Jason Jordan. And it just seems like they're just doing, American Alpha 2.0 with this Benjamin and Gable. But anyway, the match itself, I thought, should have been your typical one team wins, next team wins, have a tiebreaker. But no, instead, the Usos sweep the match 2-0 and get the win, and they keep the titles. So this was like Gable and Benjamin's, I don't know, 5th or 6th chance at the tag titles. It's time to move on and get somebody else in there. They're really hurting on tag teams, and I'd like to see Owens and Zayn win the tag titles. I don't know how much of a feud it would be with the Usos, but somebody else needs to get put in there to challenge for those tag titles. Not the New Day, please. No. All right, so our third match on the main show, we are already doing the 30-man Royal Rumble match. That's right, the Rumble match, which pretty much always has ended the pay-per-view, is now the third match of the night, because earlier during I believe during the tag team title match, they leaked it out on Twitter, or it was out there on Twitter, that people were saying that it's been confirmed the Women's Rumble match was going to close out the show. So we already knew what the main match of the night was going to be, was the Women's Rumble match. Okay, so we have our 30-man Royal Rumble match, and the first two entrants were Finn Balor and Rusev, and it was a great start there. And it seemed like, it used to be every 2 minutes another competitor would enter. This year they did 90 seconds, so a minute and a half. I didn't understand that. I was thankful they didn't do the minute one. That one year when Shawn Michaels, entered at number 1 and won the Rumble, they did like 30 seconds or a minute, I think it was even, which made the match itself, the Rumble match, like the shortest Rumble match in history. Now, here's my biggest complaint about the men's Rumble match. During the early part of the match, you have Baron Corbin comes out for his entry. I think he was like number 4 or 5, somewhere in there. He comes out and he's wrestling for a little bit, and then he gets eliminated, which then causes him to have a hissy fit. He pulls Finn Balor out and attacks him, pulls Rusev out of the ring, attacks him. During this, Heath Slater is coming out to the ring for his entrance, and Baron Corbin attacks him and knocks him out. So now all the people that are still part of the Rumble, they're knocked out. Baron Corbin gets sent to the back. And the only reason they did this is because the next person to come out for the Rumble is Elias. And Elias is coming out, of course, wearing his scarf and playing his guitar. He's got to sing a song. And I get that that's his gimmick, and I like his gimmick. I really like Elias as a wrestler, too. but I did not think this was needed in this part. I thought, no, this completely stopped any momentum that the Rumble had, because to me, honestly, it took a long time. It seemed like not until we got the bigger name stars in the top 20 to 30 entrants in that area for any kind of real drama or excitement to come back. So fast forward to the final four, and the final four I had originally picked Roman Reigns, John Cena, Randy Orton, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I was very pleasantly surprised that I had 3 out of 4, and instead of Randy Orton, they had Finn Balor, who had been in there since he had entered at number 2. So that was a very nice surprise. We get down to Roman Reigns and Cena against Shinsuke Nakamura. So we had the final 3. And I was nervous and like unsure at all what they were going to do here, because I'm like, I don't think they're going to have Cena win, because he's got movie career, TV show career, all this other stuff going on. He can't be the winner of the Rumble and actually challenge for the title at Mania. There's just no way they're going to have him do it. Shinsuke Nakamura is like the red herring, where the fans want it to happen, but are they going to actually let it happen? And then we got Vince's golden boy, Roman Reigns, who we were already disappointed with last year when he was the surprise number 30 entrant. And then we get down to Roman Reigns and Nakamura, and thankfully Nakamura eliminates Roman Reigns and he wins the Rumble match. That was amazing, a great ending, and loved it. My wife and I were watching it. We went nuts whenever that happened. Then we have Renee Young come in the ring, and she asks Shinsuke right there on the spot, hey, who are you going to choose to challenge for your WrestleMania spot? You get to challenge either Brock Lesnar or AJ Styles for their respective titles. And Shinsuke says it right there, AJ Styles, and we're going to get it. We're getting the main event that we, the fans, deserve to see at a WrestleMania. We're getting WWE Championship match, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That match is going to tear the house down. I hope it goes on last, and it's going to be incredible. I don't even care who wins. It could be a draw. It could be an hour-long marathon. I don't care. That match is going to be off the hook. Can't wait for that. Now, one other thing I want to point out about the men's Rumble match, okay, and that's the number 30 spot. Because number 30 has become one of those spots where people are expecting something big, something curious, something unexpected, of course. And I will say this, we got something unexpected. Earlier in the day and throughout the weekend, there was numerous rumors, and I know they're just rumors. You can't always bet on those. But there were numerous rumors that The Undertaker was going to be at the Rumble. And he was in the arena, and that was because his wife, Michelle McCool, was wrestling in the women's Rumble match as a throwback from wrestling 10 years ago with the company, and of course he's gonna be there to support his wife. But the rumors were, okay, he just made an appearance at Raw 25 and his promo didn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe it's a teaser. He's gonna show up at the Rumble and do something with Cena, because right now the rumor is to have John Cena versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. So obviously they're gonna do some kind of something interaction to plant the seeds. But maybe that's going to happen tonight on Raw. Who knows? Because Undertaker never made an appearance. Number 30 is coming out, and we're counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And instead of getting somebody like The Undertaker, we get Dolph Ziggler, who has been MIA since he vacated the United States title on SmackDown. And I'm like, okay, so this is how you're going to bring Dolph back? He's a surprise number 30? He better be winning this match then, because otherwise it makes no sense. Because he shows up, gets in the ring, has a couple of moments, eliminates a couple of people, I guess, if I remember right, and then he's out. He gets eliminated. It's like, okay, Dolph is back. That didn't do anything for his momentum, I don't think. But again, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I thought they should have done something else with Dolph, had him come out and challenge Bobby Roode earlier for the U.S. title, something. Not be a number 30. So after that, we have our come down match, which is going to be the Raw Tag Team title match of Rollins and Jason Jordan against The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro. Now, obviously, you just had the Royal Rumble match, so audience is a little worn out from all the excitement, and this is what you call a come down match. This is usually where you would have your squash matches, your diva matches back in the day. These would take place after big match. Unfortunately, that's where this match got placed, was right after the Rumble, which is a hard thing to come back from or to outdo. And yeah, the match itself was not very eventful. Jason Jordan, I believe in real life, is actually injured, so he can't really do much in the ring right now. And so the storyline they did was, at the very beginning of the match, Rollins is wrestling both Cesaro and Sheamus, and Jordan gets smacked into the turnbuckle post, a ring post, and knocked out for the pretty much the entire match. He finally does get tagged in for a brief second, and it looks like he's so dizzy he's gonna fall down, and he tags himself back out, and Rollins is like, "Are you freaking kidding me? I've been wrestling the whole match." And Rollins gets in there, and even though you think for a moment there he is gonna pull off and defeat the Bar on his own, he of course gets pinned, and the Bar becomes a 4-time tag team championship tag team. So yeah, they've lost the tag titles. They didn't really do any kind of interaction with Seth and Jordan where they butt heads or anything like that. It was more like, hey, I'm injured or I'm beat up, I can't get in there, and Rollins is just unfortunately has to be the sacrificial lamb. So at least we're done with the tag team title reign of Jordan and Rollins. I mean, originally I think this was supposed to be Ambrose and Rollins winning the tag titles and building towards a feud, and then they were going to feud at Mania. I think that was the original plan. I really hope Rollins and Jordan can kind of be separated now. I don't want to see this go on to be a WrestleMania match. I just don't see this being very entertaining to have them wrestle each other at Mania. But it is nice to see that the Bar, again, World Tag Team Champions. Funny because just last year at Rumble 2017, they were wrestling and were the Tag Team Champions. So it's nice to see a tag team that has a long run together as well as multiple championship victories and title reigns. So that's very good. But they do need to have a good tag team opponent coming up soon. Okay, so after that match, we get to go to our Universal Triple Threat match. That's right, the Universal Championship Triple Threat match. Brock Lesnar, the champion who is sometimes there, defending against Braun Strowman and the Monster Kane. Well, this match was just your typical monster movie kind of thing with 3 monsters just beating the crap out of each other. They involved tables and chairs and steps and all kinds of weapons. Lots of good action. There were it was just a big spot fest. Lots of Fast and Furious moments. Strowman, if you have any questions about whether or not he's over, trust me, he's over. And tonight would have been the night to make him the champion. He definitely should have won the Universal title right then and there. He was over like you would not believe with the Philly crowd. Lesnar is just not doing what they think he's doing. Lesnar is, of course, former UFC champion. He's been WWE champion before. He had a good run his first 2 years when he first wrestled in the company. But honestly, what else do they think they're going to get out of Lesnar being one of their top champions when he's never there? He doesn't wrestle on Raw ever. He never has any other matches except for random pay-per-views. He doesn't do anything else, okay? He's not bringing in the numbers. He's not bringing in the ratings that they think he should be doing. So it seems pointless. Now, pretty much everybody saw this coming whenever Brock beat Goldberg last year at Mania to win the Universal title. They're like, okay, we're going to get Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion for the next year, and then Roman Reigns is going to win the Rumble, and then he's going to challenge and win the title from Brock, and it'll be much more meaningful this time, and it'll finally get Roman Reigns over. Well, not according to that Philly crowd. Roman Reigns was not over, and he never will be over like Vince thinks he should be. And I know next month we have the Elimination Chamber match, which is going to probably end up being 6 competitors from Raw inside the Elimination Chamber, and they're going to have whoever wins that be the number 1 contender for the Universal title. Honestly, that, in my opinion, it should already be Braun Strowman defending the title at Mania, not challenging for it. But if that's the case, then you need to put Braun Strowman in that Elimination Chamber match, and he needs to be the winner and challenge Brock one-on-one and get the victory, not Roman Reigns. So, as I just mentioned, now you can guess, obviously, Brock Lesnar is still the Universal Champion. He pinned Kane after an F5. He got in lots of moments with, using chairs and tables. He gave an F5 to Strowman through one announce table and then flipped another one on top of him. I really liked how at one moment Corey Graves shouting out, "He's dead!" It's like, really, dude? Come on. I'm sure that was Vince McMahon screaming that into Corey Graves' ear, going like, say it, damn it. So yeah, the match itself was okay, but not by any means awesome match, okay? Each of them has all had better matches. Okay, so now we are at the main event of the Royal Rumble 2018 pay-per-view, and that is the 30-woman Royal Rumble match. First time ever, and I really hope it's not the first and only ever. I hope we get a women's Rumble match at least for the next few years, if not continue it for however long you want to. But I really enjoyed the Rumble match itself. It was awesome to see some of the stars come back that we hadn't seen in a long time. We got a lot of good surprise entrants. A lot more surprise entrants than the men's Rumble match itself as well. So starting off the match was Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks was kind of doing a Rey Mysterio thing where Rey Mysterio, every WrestleMania, he would wear different like superhero costumes to his attire, and Sasha Banks was rocking a Wonder Woman attire. It didn't really go well with her hair. Looked kind of funny with her purple hair. And then Becky Lynch was also debuting new ring gear, and she looked great. I thought this was a lot better than her old ring gear, so she's looking good. Oh, and one thing to point out, we of course had to have a special ringside commentator. So we got rid of Booker T for this match, at least, thankfully. But instead we got Stephanie McMahon, which honestly, she was going in and out of character quite a bit. For the most part, you could tell she was more or less trying to just be her normal self, employee of the company, Stephanie McMahon, not, Mrs. McMahon or whatever you want to call her. She wasn't going into character or anything like that, hating on certain competitors or anything like that. So one of the surprise entrants in the Rumble earlier on was Lita, and Lita, on her forearm, she wrote names of various wrestlers, female wrestlers that unfortunately could not be here to be in this match. So she had like Luna, and she also had China. She had their names written on her arm. Well, amazingly, Stephanie even pointed that out at some point during the match, going like, oh, there's so many different women in history that couldn't be here that were part of this. And she even named like Alundra Blaze, who was actually at the Rumble. She was sitting at the commentary table during the kickoff show, actually. And then I was blown away by this. Stephanie McMahon mentioned the ninth one of the world, China. That was impressive. I'm still hoping maybe, since they name dropped China on Raw and on the Rumble, maybe that's a possibility that she'll finally get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, even though I think she should have been inducted years ago when she was still alive and could have been actually, celebrated. So as I mentioned, we had a lot of surprise moments in the Women's Rumble match. So I'm going to list off the different appearances we had. So we had Lita, we had Kairi Sane from NXT and the Mae Young Classic, of course. We had Tori Wilson, Molly Holly, Michelle McCool, Vicky Guerrero showed up as well. Then we had Kelly, Jacqueline. We had the NXT Women's Champion Ember Moon, Beth Phoenix, the Bella Twins, and finally, of course, you couldn't have the Women's Rumble, the first ever Women's Rumble, without Trish Stratus. And yes, she made an appearance as well. Now, Trish Stratus looked amazing. I mean, she's always looked amazingly hot, of course, but she looked incredible. And there was a moment during the match where you had Mickie James and Trish Stratus in a stare down. I want them to book this match for Mania. Just give us another match between those two. Still one of the greatest women's matches in history, especially at a WrestleMania, of Mickie James challenging Trish for the women's title. That was an incredible moment, but it was a really cool moment to see it at the Rumble. Now, the Rumble itself, we get down to the final three, and it is the Bella Twins and Asuka. Now, this moment was very important, I think, and it really stood out for me. Okay, I've been watching wrestling since I was 5 years old, since the days of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and whatnot, and the early days of Wendy Richter and Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah and so forth, and so many amazing women wrestlers since then. Okay, going into Alundra Blaze, Bull Nakano, all the way to Sunny, to Sable and Jacqueline and so forth. Okay, now starting in the mid 2000s, we had what was called basically the Diva Search era, and that's where the Bella Twins came in. They were part of that Diva Search where you had a lot of women like the Bella Twins, you had Layla, you had Ashley, you had Maria. Okay, these were women that were not, quote, wrestlers. These were divas. Now, these were women that came in to be famous. Okay, they wanted to become famous, get their name out there, make some money, and use it to get themselves into another area of fame, such as film, television, advertising, selling other different products, being a model, Playboy, etc. There was a lot of different avenues that these women went into, and they were not known for having compelling matches, of course, by any means. There were other women at the time that would do that, such as Trish, Lita, Victoria, etc. At this moment, you have the Bella Twins, Brie and Nikki, and Asuka. Those were the final three. And it was like, looking in one side here, you have the end of the Divas, and you have women's wrestling in Asuka. So it was a very nice moment to see, you know what? We did this for a while. It served its purpose, but we want women's wrestling now, and that's what we're finally getting. We have so many talented female wrestlers nowadays. Just even in the WWE alone, we've got Becky, you have Charlotte, Alexa, Natalia, you have Sasha and Bailey. So many different talented women wrestlers. Okay, even in NXT, you have Kairi Sane, Ember Moon. The list goes on and on. Okay, and Asuka, of course, undefeated NXT champion. She's been on a roll ever since she got to WWE, and she is the future. She is what the fans want. We want a strong wrestling women's division. We don't want to go back to the brawn panty matches, the pudding matches. That was then, this is now, and we've come to a new era. And the women deserve just as much as the men do to be featured as legit wrestlers. And it was a great moment. And at first I was a little nervous though, because I found it kind of funny how the final three in the men's match were Roman Reigns, John Cena, and Shinsuke. The final three for the women were the Bella Twins and Asuka. It was kind of funny how Nikki Bella and John Cena were part of the final three of both Rumble matches. It could just be a very strange coincidence, but I just found it very interesting. So Nikki Bella turns on Brie and eliminates her. Comes down to Nikki versus Asuka. Asuka eliminates Nikki Bella and is the winner and first ever winner of the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, during the Rumble match, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, the respective women's champions from Raw and SmackDown, they were sitting at ringside during the entire match. Asuka is in the ring. The two champions come inside and stand on opposite sides of Asuka. Asuka kind of looks back and forth, sizing them up and looking at the title belt. Now, of course, Shinsuke, when he won the Rumble earlier, Renee Young went into the ring and asked him who he wanted to challenge. We didn't have that, though. We didn't have Asuka giving us her choice. She didn't pick yet, and I think that is the way to go. I honestly think you could build for the next couple of weeks or few weeks or however long of every week Charlotte on SmackDown and Alexa on Raw, both going like, okay, is she going to choose me or the other one? Who is she going to pick to challenge for the title at Mania? And I want them both to be kind of nervous because Asuka is a legit threat who could take out either one of them. Now, if I had to choose, I would definitely like to see Asuka against Charlotte for the SmackDown title. I think that would be the better match, obviously. I'm guessing, based on what happened next, is going to be a little bit different. So you have Asuka, you have Alexa, and Charlotte all standing there in the middle of the ring celebrating what just happened. I thought that was the perfect time to end the show and just go. But instead, we have some new ring music playing, and the camera turns to the stage. The crowd is already cheering because up on the Titantron it says in big letters, Ronda Rousey. And we're like, oh, Ronda Rousey is making her debut. We heard rumors all week that Ronda Rousey was signing a deal and had been spotted with Triple H. So yeah, we knew Ronda Rousey was coming to WWE. We didn't know when or how. A lot of people were expecting her to debut in the actual Rumble, which I don't think would have made any sense, but that was the strong rumor. So here comes Ronda Rousey. She's wearing a white t-shirt with Ronda Rousey across the shirt, but it's in the same font as the Hot Rod Roddy Piper's t-shirt. Okay, nice throwback there. Of course, she had the nickname Rowdy Ronda in UFC, of course, which she got from Piper himself. She asked for that name. And she comes out wearing Hot Rod's leather jacket, too. In case you didn't know that, that was actually Hot Rod's leather jacket. His son gave that to her to use to come out in the ring with. So she comes out, she stands at the top of the ramp, and I'm thinking, okay, cool, just make it a teaser, don't do anything else. But no, she walks to the ring, she gets inside the ring, looks at all three women in the ring, and then looks up at the WrestleMania sign that's hanging above in the arena there, and just points her finger up like she's calling her shot, like Babe Ruth. And you have the other women kind of looking up there at what she's pointing at, and they're like, what does this mean? Asuka, though, she's kind of looking like, really? Are you coming in to interrupt my moment? That's the kind of feeling I got right there. So then Ronda looks back at the girls again, then points at the sign one more time, kind of smirks, and it seemed like she looked over at Charlotte saying like, hey, I'll see you there or something. And then she gets out of the ring, walks up to the ramp, stands at the top of the ramp, and then one more time points at the sign, and then the show goes dark, and that's the end of the show. I'm like, okay, cool. We have Ronda Rousey making an appearance. She's part of WWE now. She's part of the WWE now. She's going to be a actual wrestler, not just a character, not just showing up to do things or whatever. She's going to actually wrestle from what we're being told. Now, my issues are, number one, this was Asuka's moment, and I don't think she should have had anything interrupting it. I think this should have been Asuka's moment. You also had Charlotte and you had Alexa celebrating the fact that they're the first two women to be possibly challenged by a Royal Rumble winner, so it's a good moment for them too. And I think the three women in the ring should have just been able to celebrate and enjoy that moment, and that's that. If you're going to have Ronda Rousey show up, do it after the cameras are turned off for the live audience. You know, maybe that was just something you could have shared for the live audience to have a moment of their own, or just in general, just wait until Monday or Tuesday and have that moment happen then. Don't do it any other way, don't do it in the middle of Asuka's moment. I just don't think that was right. I think Asuka should have had her own moment. She's, an amazing competitor, and she won the first ever Women's Rumble. Now, the other thing that makes me nervous about that I want to share is, okay, so Ronda Rousey is obviously a, legit athlete and a competitor. She is a former UFC champion, okay? Can't take that away from her. She was a UFC Ultimate Fighting champion. So if you're going to have her come in here, are we getting a Ken Shamrock or a Brock Lesnar? That's my big question, because I don't want to see another UFC person coming in and wrestling 4 matches a year and then actually winning one of the title belts and disappearing for 4 or 5 months at a time and never defending it on a Raw or SmackDown or anything like that. I want to see a real competitor. I want to see someone come in, similar to Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock came in as a special guest referee at WrestleMania 13 for the Austin versus Bret Hart match, and not too long after that, he became an actual competitor. He wrestled on Raw, he wrestled on pay-per-views, he became a Intercontinental, Tag Champ, Hardcore Champ, etc. He won all kinds of belts, and he had storyline. Was he the greatest at everything? No, but he was a wrestler. He was a wrestler. And if you're going to bring in Ronda Rousey, yeah, her name has a lot of star power. But I think you're hurting yourself if you think you're going to get another Brock Lesnar. Oh, we'll bring her in. She'll appear at Rumble. Maybe we'll have her show up on Raw or SmackDown in the next few weeks. And then she'll show up at Mania. No, you need to have her come in and actually show what she can do. I would rather have her wrestle a couple of matches before WrestleMania to see if we can actually get some matches out of her. Make sure she can actually deliver in the ring. But I don't want to see her come in to wrestle a couple of times a year, win a championship belt, and then hold it for forever, because she never defends it any time except a few big times during the year. Okay, she needs to actually wrestle. Okay, so those are my thoughts and opinions on the 2018 WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Like I said, I've started off the channel 3 years ago, and my very first video was me driving around in my vehicle, and I was recapping the 2015 Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and I thought, you know what, it's my 3rd anniversary. I had an amazing time last night watching the Rumble event, and thought, you know what, it's time to do a recap on the Rumble again, and we'll do it. So, wanted to share with you all my thoughts and opinions on the show last night. I had a blast watching the show. I always have a good time interacting with people on Twitter. If you ever want to talk to me on Twitter, you can go to Pop Culture Junk 2, and you can follow me on there and talk with me anytime. But also during WWE Network specials or pay-per-views, whatever you want to call them nowadays, I'm always live tweeting, sharing my thoughts and opinions on the show. So if you watched the pay-per-view last night, I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. And please share with me in the comments below your thoughts on the actual matches, the outcomes. What do you think they're going to do with Ronda Rousey? Share with me your thoughts. What do you think they should do, and what do you think they will do? Are they going to go with a weekly wrestler? Is she going to wrestle a few times a month? Is she going to only wrestle once in a blue moon? Share with me. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Well, until the next unwrapping or unboxing or wrestling review or anything else we decide to throw on the channel here, this is me, the one and only Pop Culture Junkie, saying, as always, to me, wrestling will always be real. I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care, guys. I'm signing out.